from across the country. A special welcome to our new tribal grantees for the upcoming program year, and welcome back to our returning program leaders. Each year, we look for new ways to streamline our grant process and strengthen the support we provide to the tribal portfolio. In our new structure, our regional office staff team members are dedicated to supporting the tribal portfolio. They are very supportive and are invested in your program's success. As you engage in discussions this week and begin to implement your programs when you get home, if there's any feedback you want to share with CNCS that could improve our technical assistance or enhance your ability to operate a successful program, please share that information with your portfolio manager, or you can feel free to send me an email. Additionally, as Director of AmeriCorps State and National, I spend a fair amount of time meeting with programs, leadership, and talking with members, which this year will look a bit different due to these unprecedented times. It's one of my favorite things about this position, seeing the good that is being accomplished in communities across the country. So please send me any invitations to any virtual special events, trainings, or other opportunities to show off your program and engage CNCS leadership. Thank you for your continued commitment and for your service to the country and to your communities. We look forward to hearing the stories of program and member success over the course of the next year. It's now my pleasure to introduce the CEO of CNCS, Barbara Stewart.
Welcome to the 2020 AmeriCorps Symposium. Every year, the symposium brings together the AmeriCorps community for 3 days of training, networking, and inspiration. I certainly wish we could be together in person, but current circumstances don't make it wise for us to gather in one place. Chester and his team have put together an outstanding program with all the content you normally would get at the symposium, just delivered in a different way. So whether you are a new or long-standing tribal grantee with AmeriCorps, thank you for joining us, for choosing this work, and for being our partners in national service. I know that service to others is a way of life in Native communities. As tribal AmeriCorps grantees, you are continuing this tradition by tapping the talents and energy of a new generation. And AmeriCorps members are tackling a range of challenges with you, tutoring young people and supporting veterans, preventing substance abuse and caring for the elderly, preparing for natural disasters, preserving traditional lands, and more. As they serve others, these AmeriCorps members help themselves by gaining new skills, earning money for college, and growing into true leaders. You are helping our AmeriCorps programs produce results, better schools, improved health, a cleaner environment, and we are grateful to be your partners in this important work. It goes without saying that we are living through unprecedented times. No one would have predicted 6 months ago that we would be facing a global pandemic, an economic slowdown, and other challenges that have put enormous strain on our families, communities, and nation. We know that COVID-19 has had a disproportionate impact on American Indian and Alaska Native communities, including higher infection rates, increased unemployment, and loss of revenue. I understand that many of your programs had to suspend operations due to health and safety reasons, while several were able to continue. As we begin a new program year, COVID-19 remains a challenge. It will continue to take creativity and flexibility to meet community needs and ensure the safety of AmeriCorps members, staff, and the people you serve. Over the next few days, you'll hear from your peers around the country about approaches to safely help your community during COVID-19 and many other topics. I hope you take home some new ideas and contacts to help in your work. In these uncertain times, national service is more important than ever, and I am confident that our AmeriCorps and Senior Corps programs members and volunteers will rise to the challenge. CNCS has a long history of supporting Indian American and Native Alaskan communities. We're committed to working with tribal nations on a government-to-government basis to increase our investment and find new ways to meet local needs, expand economic opportunity, and strengthen communities through national service. As Chester said, please let us know how we can better support you. And please help us spread the word about the benefits of national service to Native communities. Most often, people find out about our opportunities and resources through word of mouth. Your outreach can help us increase our impact to reach more people and more communities. I hope you enjoy the next 3 days. Soak in as much as you can, make new connections, and take home some new ideas. Thank you again for your dedication, service, and partnership.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm going to now pass it over to Erin McGrath to welcome you all to the Tribal Advisory Group meeting.
Thanks, Brittany. My name is Erin McGrath. I am the Director of the Office of Regional Operations, which is the new unit here at CNCS. I want to talk a little bit about our work and how we connect with you all as grantees and how we partner with AmeriCorps State and National to make sure that you are getting the best support. I hope you're doing well and are looking forward to this symposium. I know it's early in the program agenda. This is a very unconventional way to hold the symposium, and it's no replacement for sitting in the room together face to face, but nonetheless, I am very happy to have been invited to your time together today and happy to participate throughout the week. Last year, when I joined you, we were in the very, very early days of building our new structure. We shared a bit about our plans and our timeline, and now here we are a year later. We're still building, but we've made great progress. And so, Brittany, I don't know if you're able to show up the slides. I want to keep this conversational, so I'll pause here and there for us to have discussion, for you to ask clarifying questions. But I do think it would be helpful to take a few minutes to talk with you about our new structure and what we're doing.
Erin, I'll present it here in 1 second.
Okay.
But you will have the slides shortly.
Okay, and it's really just a visual to go along with the conversation today. As many of you know, Barbara Stewart, our agency CEO, set out a very ambitious plan for transformation and sustainability. And one of the cornerstones of that plan was to change 2 key pieces when it comes to supporting grantees and managing our grant awards. The first was to change where the work got done, and the second was to change how the work got done. And I want to talk a little bit about that with you today as a refresher, so that we can make sure we're all on the same page and you have an understanding of what we're going through as an agency. So as a little bit of context and history, again, if you've heard this before, I apologize. If you're new to this, I think it would be helpful to understand that as an agency, we made the plan to consolidate individual state offices who were managing our Senior Corps and Vista awards. We had about a little more than 40 offices around the country that housed program officers for those programs. And we brought them together in this regional structure. I think, thanks for showing the map there, Brittany. For AmeriCorps State and National, we moved the slice of the work that program officers conducted from Washington, D.C. out into these regional offices. So we have 8 regional offices that support grantees and help make our grantees award, help make our grant awards. The map will show the geographies that fall within each region. We open them up in 3 phases over the course of the year. In fact, in July, we got to our final phase and opened our final 2 offices in South Central, which is based in Austin, Texas, and in the Mid-Atlantic, which is based in Philadelphia. So even though we are just getting started, we are really excited to have that final piece in place. It's a big deal for us. We have office space in each of those cities, but at the moment, most of our team is working remotely from home. So hopefully this map looks familiar. You know which geography you fall in, and you've had a chance to connect with your region staff. For those of you who are in the Mid-Atlantic and the South Central, that probably would have just been last week that we made that switch, so you may not have had a chance to talk to them yet, but you will soon. Hopefully that this looks familiar. We're really excited about these teams being in place. The biggest challenge was not in where the work got done, but really the bigger changes happened in how the work gets done and the different roles CNCS team plays in supporting you as grantees. So what I'm going to ask Brittany to do is share an organizational chart for the Office of Regional Operations, so you can hopefully makes it easier to see who exactly we have in our Office of Regional Operations. Sometimes you will hear people call it ORO or ORO. We're still young. We're figuring out how to refer to ourselves, but it is the Office of Regional Operations. So this is the organizational chart for the overall structure. I work with a small team at headquarters. They're on the right side of the chart. Those folks are there to make sure that the people in the field and the regional offices have what they need to support you all as grantees. I work very closely with 8 regional administrators across the country. Their job is to understand the local needs of communities within those regions, to make sure that our national resources get to those communities, and that the grant awards and projects are well managed and supported by our CNCS staff. Those folks, I think some of them are on the line. So if you're on the line and you have your camera on, maybe you can wave. Hopefully those names look familiar to you and you'll have a chance to get to know them. They're fantastic. They're really smart. They're really experienced and committed to this work, and I really enjoy working with them. Each of those 8 blue blocks there on the left-hand side have a team of folks in the regions. And Brittany, if you'll flip to the next slide, I think that'll show a little bit more detail about what the regional offices look like. So you've got the regional administrator there in red. Within each region, there is a deputy regional administrator and a handful of senior portfolio managers. Those folks have a very challenging job. They are keeping an eye on what is happening within all of the states in the region, and they're working to supervise the portfolio managers who are working directly with grantees. The work that program officers and grants officers used to do for you now primarily happen through the portfolio manager or the senior portfolio manager assigned to your grant award. The one thing to note here is that they no longer just specialize in AmeriCorps. If the tribe has AmeriCorps funding and senior corps funding and or a VISTA program, the portfolio manager will support all of those awards coming from CNCS. Before we talk a little bit more about how the work gets done and what those changes look like, let me pause here. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. Let me pause here to see if there are any questions about the 8 regions or what those regional offices look like. I think we can take questions in the chat. Is that right, Brittany? In the chat, or you can, I think you can chime in too by unmuting yourself. Anybody? I'll give you a minute.
Afternoon, my name is Robin.
Hey, Robin.
I'm Northwest Niji up in Elected Flammable, Wisconsin. Our portfolio manager or regional administrator, Michael Laverty, as well as our senior portfolio manager, Ben Olson, and then our portfolio manager, Katya. I'm not going to try to say her name out of.
It's long and complicated, right?
Yes, but I've enjoyed that kind of new way to communicate. I think that works well. Nothing out of disrespect for Rose. She's been very helpful, even helping me get on. So I just wanted to say thanks to everybody.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. You've got a really great team there in the North Central, and I know Michael's on the line, and that whole team has really been enjoying getting to know the portfolio there, and are happy to support you. And we know how fantastic Rose is, for sure. We learn a lot from Rose and have been able to borrow from her wisdom, for sure. So thank you for that acknowledgement. I do think that folks who are in those, the two offices that are in phase 3, our final stage, the Southeast, again, out of Austin, and the Mid-Atlantic out of Philadelphia, you may not have had a chance to talk to your folks just yet. They are took on the AmeriCorps State and National portfolio just last week. So you may not have had a chance to connect, but hopefully you will be able to talk to them soon. Any other questions about how it's structured? Okay, let's talk more about the changes we made and how the work gets done. Brittany, if you'll flip, or Rose, I'm not sure who has control there, if you'll flip to the 4th slide. This picture has really been helpful to me as I do my best to try to explain the changes. I want to point out that there is still a team at CNCS headquarters that work with AmeriCorps State and National. Chester and Jennifer lead their team in setting the direction for AmeriCorps, establishing the rules based on the legislation, of course, communicating those rules, and making determinations about the budget that Congress gives to AmeriCorps State and National. You'll see them represented there in that top bubble. They are really setting the program priorities. There is a second office that helps us set up the rules, which is the Office of Grant Administration. They are primarily making sure that all of CNCS grants follow the rules set out by the government in general, particularly around financial management. And they are providing some training at a national level. Same thing with AmeriCorps State and National. They're hosting a symposium that's happening at a national level. And we get information from them. Where our Office of Regional Operations is represented by that center bubble there, that map. And so we have a close working relationship with those two units. And then we work directly with you all to help support you, to provide you with technical assistance, training when you need it, to help figure out how to put our money to work for those that you serve. So we're there to give you support, technical assistance, but also to help support the growth of national service and to expand our footprint. So we are really working, I'm looking here, it looks like the bubble got a little distorted, but we're working with grantees and communities across the country to help mobilize the resources that are coming through CNCS. So let me pause there. That's a different way of doing business. If you've been working with state and national in the past, you know that your program officer sat there in Washington, D.C. Things have changed a little bit. So let me just pause and see if there are any questions about the way these relationships work. Hopefully it's not new. I think we've been talking about this for a year, but it's happening. So there are definitely pieces that are still crystallizing for us, but hopefully this setup, it seems familiar. Did I just cut someone off? Was someone trying to chime in? Maybe? No? Okay. I do want to share a bit more about the people that we have in the mix, because many of them we're all in new roles, but we're not necessarily new to the work. We've got a handful of team members on the call with us this afternoon. If you are part of the Office of Regional Operations and you have your camera on, can you give us a wave? See a handful of folks there. We have about 140 folks on staff within the structure. The demographics, we're still pulling them together, but we are really excited at the high number of AmeriCorps alum that we have in the mix, return Peace Corps volunteers. About half of the people in these positions have come from other offices within CNCS. And this is the one I'm pretty excited about. Almost 70% of the people that we've hired have experience working for a national service grantee, which means that many of them have sat where you are. They know what it takes to make programs work, and I'm excited for them to be able to bring that experience and continue to support you. All of the folks that we've hired have very relevant experience in working with communities and in grant making. And we hope that that means they will be a good partner to you. I'm so excited for you to get to know them. I'm really proud to be part of this team. I know we've got a lot of good work ahead. I've used up my time. I'm looking at the clock here, but I do want to just again offer and pause here to just take any questions about the new structure. We've been taking our folks through a lot of training. They are really mastering the fundamentals. They're getting to know the program models. They're getting to know the rules. They're getting to know the way the grants work. But more importantly, they're getting to know all of you and your priorities and the things that you are working on and how we can best support you. So I appreciate you giving us a little bit of time to get our sea legs here, but I'm really proud of this team, and I know everyone's really excited to be working with all of you. I'm going to stay on the line, Brittany. I think I'm turning it over to Rose, who's going to share a little bit more about the tribal portfolio in AmeriCorps State and National, but I'll be around to take questions. I know we've got some time at the end, and looking forward to getting to know you all better. Rose, is it you or Brittany?
It's Rose. Sorry, I'm back. I got kicked out of my own meeting here. Thank you, guys. I just want to give you a quick hello and welcome to the Tribal Advisory Group meeting for the FY20 AmeriCorps State and National Symposium. You may remember me from program officers past. I am here now functioning as a technical assistance and training specialist. So it's great to see folks again and hear your voices. I hope that everyone's families and yourselves are doing well during this time, and that your communities are as safe as possible as we face even more extreme challenges at this time. So I'm briefly going to go over the agenda. We've already done the welcome and introductions. And so we're going to go to the next slide so we can go over the FY20 tribal portfolio. You should have received a FY20 tribal portfolio overview. That shows everyone that we've funded for this year, a brief program write-up, and some contact information. So if any of that is incorrect, please contact your portfolio manager to let them know. The regional and deputy directors are on the line as well. And they have also received a copy of this document for this year. So let's take a look at this year. So as many of you know, we've set aside 1% of the AmeriCorps funding specifically for federally recognized tribes. The total amount available changes depending on the size of the appropriation and other factors. We usually go above this 1% depending on funding levels. For this year, we have about 2.6 total funding that we gave out to our tribal programs. We're looking at 15 tribal grant programs this year, which include non-continuations, 4 recompete programs, and 2 planning grants. So I would just like to take a moment to welcome our 2 new programs. One is the COPE program. And they are seeking to implement food sovereignty and education activities in the Zuni Pueblo. The other is the Sitka Tribe of Alaska, and they are looking to do tutoring and education support within their community. So just really want to give you guys a warm welcome and welcome to the AmeriCorps family. And lastly, we're looking at 187 full-time member slots this year. Brittany, if you want to go to the next one. So in previous iterations, we had the Tribal Advisory Group. This is completely grantee led. You do have all of your contact information, and you can utilize such sources as Zoom, which we're doing now, and I think we're all pretty familiar with, or just a simple conference call line to meet up with each other. And it's an opportunity for this tribal portfolio to network, share your best practices about program development, member recruitment, and program management. And it's an opportunity to provide feedback and technical assistance to CNCS. You can do that for your portfolio manager or an ORO designee. And also, you can nominate 2 tag leaders. Previously, we had 2 co-leaders that took on this function as like a main and an alternate to work with the whole group and provide feedback to us. Again, the listing that you have that was sent out has all of the contact information and an overview of each program. Next, please. We're going to look at a few symposium highlights that we have this year. So tomorrow, which is already Wednesday, September 16th, there is a National Direct and Tribal Town Hall from 4 to 4:50 p.m. Eastern, and then a AmeriCorps Response to COVID-19 plenary. We're going to have a panelist, Wazi Cook, who works with Teach for America and a leg of Teach of America that's called the National Native Alliance. He and his group have done spectacular things across the nation in Native communities, promoting Teach for America and Native teachers within those communities. He may be doing a webinar later on this year about the activities that he has conducted with TFA and the National Native Alliance. So I will save that content until that happens. And then on Thursday, September 17th, there is a program evaluation resource strategies for tribal grantees. This will have a panel of our own tribal grantees speaking about their experiences, best practices, and lessons learned. There will be a brief introduction from NORC, a evaluation provider that CNCS uses, about CNCS requirements and just evaluation resources that you all can use. So that will be a great session to attend. But I really encourage everyone to get on the ASN Symposium website, participate in the discussion boards, which is a pre-work, and review all of the pre-recorded material and participate in the live discussions. It will create like a really balanced and holistic symposium experience, since we are all now virtual basically for everything. You want to go to the next slide, Brittany? Okay, so we already did the overview of the Office of Regional Operations, so we are going to skip through the next few slides. Great. So we didn't receive any questions on the discussion board for this session, which is okay. I think everybody was just getting in tune with this virtual symposium. But we are going to open this up. We do have, a brief time frame here. We have until about 1:50 to go through some questions and hear your feedback. So you can do that via the chat, or we can do that by opening the lines. But let's go to the chat first to see if you have any comments or any questions that have come to mind. And if it looks like we don't have a lot of questions, then we will go to providing introductions for the grantees that are on the phone. Because of our time constraints, we just want to make sure that we have everything ready for the main opening of the symposium this year. Okay, so if you have a question, please go to your chat or unmute your phone and feel free to ask.
This is Robin again from North Wasniji, North Central Region. I just wanted to say that as a program director for working with AmeriCorps and the tribal side of it, I appreciate having the opportunity to last year meet everybody. And then this year, I don't want to say I'm hitting the ground running, but yes, it is a lot better understanding how the e-grants and the HR system Encore might interact. And I think it's a lot more, I'm a lot more relieved, and rather than having a ton of concerns or questions. I applaud the e-grant system for the technical questions sometimes when I get into a jam, and it was very helpful to, get a response and getting to know some of the names that probably they recognized me because my phone number, my email, and knew that was, well, how did this guy get hired if he's got all these questions? But I think it's a very complicated system, but yet I appreciate the opportunity to have that contact. And again, I value the meeting. Michael and Ben Olson they came up to North Central, I believe this past summer before we all shut down. And so, it's good to get the list of names again and their email contacts. I will say, as a chance that when I saw the regional map, it mirrors that configuration that the Indian Health Service might use under the Department of Health and Human Services. It kind of mirrors that of the Department of the Interior with the BIA. So but there's some overlap and kind of things like that, but I think it has some promise for a person that has worked with BIA as well as the Department of the Interior as well as the Department of Health and Human Services. And hopefully now we got email connections. Thank you for that. So hopefully we'll be able to reconnect again. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, for your words. It looks like in the chat we have a bunch of questions about TAG. So Brittany, if you wouldn't mind going back to the slide on TAG, that would be fantastic. A little couple forward. Next one. Yep. Here we go. So in the past few years, we've had a tribal advisory group. This is comprised of all of the tribal grantee members. It is completely grantee led. So when it's asked if it's continuing, yes, you guys are able to meet whenever you would like to schedule meetings with each other. So again, it is completely grantee led. You can choose 2 co-leaders, which are simply just a suggestion that we've done previously. But if you have a conference call line or you guys can set it up by Zoom, it is completely up to you guys. You have all of the contact information in order to do this. Just really it's an opportunity for you all to network and share best practices. And also share with us what your feedback is and what your technical assistance needs are. You can share that with your portfolio manager, or Oro may designate someone to send that to. We still have Aaron Dolan as the tribal, I believe the tribal liaison. So there are a number of different opportunities in order to share that feedback. But again, it is just totally tribal led. Tribal grantee led, and you can meet as you wish. I don't think at this time that we will be organizing those meetings as they were before. I think I was the person and the point of contact for that. But I think that if you guys want to meet and produce any feedback for us, please go forth. Aaron, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll say a couple things. And I see there's a question in the chat about the way to utilize the ORO, Office of Regional Operations resources. I'll say a couple things. We want to get to know you as a program, understand your individual needs. Our portfolio managers are very excited and anxious to get to know your work better, to figure out how to support you. We would encourage you to see them as an extension of your team. Encourage you to be in touch with them, to talk through any of the challenges, share any of the successes. They want to know you better so that they can support you better. And so please do not hesitate to reach out to them. If you don't know who that is and you're unsure, we are using currently state address mailboxes. So if you are in, let's say, South Dakota, you could email sd@cns.gov. If you're in Utah, it would be UT. So just use the state initial at cns.gov. That'll get to the folks who are supporting your geography. Happy to make sure you're clear on who your primary point of contact is. If as a group, as the TAG Advisory Council, you have an interest in hearing from us or hearing from AmeriCorps State and National, you can make that request of your portfolio managers and they'll route it to the right place. Or Rose, is ASN information at cns.gov the best way to forward anything that they might want to ask of AmeriCorps State and National from a headquarters perspective?
Yes, I believe that would be the best email address to reach us, is the ASN information email box.
But have that conversation with your local team, your portfolio manager or your senior portfolio manager, and they'll make sure that gets routed to us. I think our goal is, there's training content and guidance and information that comes from the AmeriCorps team at headquarters in Washington, D.C. And we want to take a look at that with you and help figure out how to best apply it to your situation. So these guys are making what we've been calling the rules and tools at headquarters. We want to help operationalize that, make sure that it makes sense in your individual situation, and help pull that together and help contextualize that. And that's what our team is there to do. And so we're happy to work with state and national on anything that we can do to better support you. Rose mentioned Erin Dolan. There are two Erins. I'm Erin McGrath. Erin Dolan is our Chief of Program Operations. She's held the role as tribal liaison for a long time with the agency. And even though she's in an acting capacity as our CPO, she's maintained that role. And we'll see as things sort of settle in a little bit under the new structure where that role continues to live. But she is the primary liaison for tribal programs. You absolutely can reach out to her, especially if it's sort of a broader tribal issue or suggestions on our work as an agency. I know she'd be very happy to hear from you.
I am typing in her email address into the chat function so that you have that for your records. Okay. We have about 8 minutes left in this session. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, so we have from Mary Rousseau, who's from Sitting Bull College. Has any other programs have problems in getting members this year? So we'll pose that question to the group. If anybody wants to chime in about their any issues that they've had with recruitment this year.
Hello, my name's Douglas Joe with out of I guess the mountain region, and what I've done was just go back into the previous applicants and started emailing them from previous years, and with the help of my regional portfolio manager Sharon, real helpful with that. It helped me fill the two, I guess, paid positions, but filling in the volunteers, the half-time and quarter time is really hard now. It seems like a a lot of them don't want to come out and do those hours voluntarily at the chapter. So that's where I'm having problems filling in those positions. But I'm just gonna still go at it and continue to email those previous members and see how it works out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My name is Tyrone Begay. I'm with the Chinle Chapter AmeriCorps program in Chinle, Arizona on the Navajo Reservation. We just recently started our year 4 program. So we're one of the continuation programs. We're slow moving in terms of our recruitment. We did advertise. We have it in the newspaper, the Navajo Times. We also use social media and then word of mouth from previous members and local community members to sort of drive and push our recruitment. We've even streamlined some of our application requirements. We still meet what the guidelines say that we have to do, but it is slow moving due to the pandemic. But in the same token, the grantee has a protocol in terms of what we had to adhere to as well. So a lot of the applicants will ask and will screen for the grantee safety and the program safety is, have they been in any areas considered a hot spot? Have they been infected by the COVID directly? You have to remember, we still have staff at the program and at the chapter, and we don't want to run the risk of compromising them. So it's been slow moving, Mary, but we have been getting people on. For year 4, we actually have 3 core members on right now, and we're still advertising. So as the applications come in and we get like a handful, we'll interview, and then if they meet qualifications or they fit the criteria, we'll go ahead and move with them. The other thing that's affected our program, of course, is we have a healthy issue, a wellness type activity. Our wellness center has been shut down. We don't foresee it being lifted anytime soon. So a lot of the focus has gone to manpower and kind of deviating from our primary focus. So now we do a lot of humanitarian aid. So we do collection of goods. The grantee works very well with the Navajo Hopi COVID Relief Fund. So we get a lot of food supplies, general supplies that come to Chinle chapter, and our core members go in a clean state or a clean environment, and we package those and we box those, and those get distributed not only to Chinle but the surrounding communities. We provide services up to about 11 surrounding communities. In one day, they'll do up to 500, 700 boxes. So they are putting in quite a bit of hours in that aspect, but we're moving forward. I mean, we still have programs to run. We still got to meet our objectives. So it's kind of trying, but we're making it work as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyrone. I think those were really important remarks to hear. It looks like we have a couple of questions coming in to the chat. Let's see. Mary, I've taken a log of your questions that I think we can get back to. Let's see. The required courses on the Knowledge Network. We are going to have a criminal history check session this week. I ask that everybody, if they have time, to attend that session. I think it's really important. I think there's been some changes over the past year. And then I think, let's see, the training will be for tribal grantees. I think that's one of the things that we can ask that the Tribal Advisory Group also give us feedback on for this year. That would be great, about what training needs that you would have. And then we're going back to Yasina. Yasina, I would ask that you would go to, oh, sorry, that was sent to me privately, but I'll say it since I've already started reading it. I would say that will be a question for your portfolio manager at this time, if you would like to contact them for that question. But we are looking at just 1 minute left. I know that this was a really short session and we were just getting to a really great discussion. So unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it short at time because we have to go to the opening plenary at this point for the symposium. But I think that this is a great discussion to continue for the Tribal Advisory Group. Again, if you have any questions, please, your first line of contact is your portfolio manager. And then we do have Erin Dolan, like we mentioned before, and then also the ASN information inbox. Again, I just really want to thank everybody for attending this session, and hopefully we were able to introduce, you know, a few more people that you haven't been able to see before. And I will kick it over to Erin for any closing remarks.
I'll just say thank you for organizing this and pulling folks together and for all of your thoughtful engagement in supporting the Office of Regional Operations as we stood up. And then of course your many years of support for the tribal grantees. We really appreciate it. We thank you for inviting us. We're just getting started on the symposium. There's a lot of really great content to come. The team at headquarters put a lot of effort into these sessions. They'll be recorded, so if you miss any, feel free to you'll be able to go back. We're just getting started this week, and thanks for having us. Looking forward to getting to know you all over the next couple of months. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you all. Have a good day.